Okay, good. Wait, let's get chicken. Good morning, too. Yeah. It has been so long since the last time that we were here. Anyway, uh, 2 days. Oh, it actually was a lot longer since last time. What happened? When did I try to stream and it didn't work? Yesterday? Wasn't it yesterday? No. Yeah, it was yesterday, right? Like, when was it? I have no clue. You're asking the wrong person. I don't know. I only know that we're here today. That's more should be more than enough for me. Oh yeah. Anyways, good evening. Let me continue setting up, I guess. How long has it been, man? It feels like it was a while. It feels like that. Also, I am not at all streaming on YouTube. I didn't do that intentionally. It's so over. I should have tried to do a stream. I didn't. It's fine, I guess. It's all good, supposedly. Also, what's up with this new streaming time? Simply because there are fucking power outages. Amazing. Uh, True. Here am I. It was a while, but yeah, here we are. This thing, I have it pinned. Like, I'm not going to actually do much. I didn't have an idea. Oh no, April Fools. Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever. It's not really something. It's not really that important, I guess. And so I have an excuse. I woke up after a 2 hour nap, so yeah. I am sleepy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Also, what is the last meadow thing on Discord? What's that? What's all of that about? No, it's I guess it's always like the soak of the day or something like that, probably, no? But I don't really find it all that interesting. I guess it's nice to some degree, but it's okay. More than nice, it's okay. I don't know. It has it. It's like an MMO, like something of that sort, without actually being something of that sort. So who knows? I guess. Um, Terrible. Anyway, me. What am I trying to say? Ah, yeah, yeah. I have to open some stuff. Let me see. New warnings for your city. Indeed, there is going to be a storm at some point. Wow. What an amazing discovery. Talking about discoveries, I realized I can somehow change when the ads begin. One of the handful of reasons as to why we are here for 8 minutes is simply because there is a downtime before the first start ever happens. Like, the tradition simply is, you know what, it will be easier for us to run the ads than actually start. than to actually not to do that. And it seems to be the case that you can actually change that somehow. Now, like not somehow, as in I don't really know how, but somehow at some point Twitch realized that people wanted that, and now that's an option, and that's amazing. I feel like that's amazing. Yeah, it's something that I wanted. I don't know. People in general wanted for a while. No, whether yeah, I also wanted that, but it's something that in general always was like, wow, we need to be capable of changing that. I don't like to have to wait for so long. It's not really that long actually, but I don't know if I don't complain, I explode, you know. So I have to act like waiting 8 minutes is bad or whatever. Anyways. What? Yeah. I don't think I have the game open. There we Let me open that. What if we play Counter Strike instead? No. No. What if we farm a case? No. It's a funny idea, but it's not a funny thing in itself. It's like, what the fuck are you saying? But it's not that great, I guess. So yeah, don't pay me any attention. Okay, we have almost everything. Options, master volume. Let me have this here, and now quit the game. And now activate background noise. And now open it again so that the music starts from the very beginning. And now let's get ear blasted because this is too loud. No, it actually is slow. It actually is slow, actually. Wow. Options. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. The only problem, this game has like rock music. For some reason, it's incredibly violent. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to listen to it. No, yeah, it's not bad actually. It's just me complaining. Sorry. How much time is there left? No, I don't have time. Sorry. So I guess we have to make it do with this, anyways. Good evening. Well, it has been a while since the last time that I was here. I love having issues before being capable of actually streaming. Nothing better than to start 20 different streams for 19 of them to actually crash. Amazing. But yeah, today we are here to play Power Fantasy. What is Power Fantasy? Great question. It's a roguelike. No. Besides that, it's a vampire survivors like. What's the proper name that this game's having here? Like a survivor, I think, simply. But yeah, that's what we're here to do. Not anything else. No, really, nothing. So yeah, the average stuff is like, oh wow, you have some meta progression here. You have your this is the main character. Like what? Not there is no main character. This game has literally less story than a 5-year-old book. So no, there is no main character, man. What do you have then? You have the character. I don't know. Why am I trying to act like I would know anything out? That point is, we have this game and we shall play it. So yeah, enjoy the gameplay. Anyways, the point was something else entirely. Good morning. you see, it has rock music actually. Um, but yeah, I was saying that it's crazy to see. It's crazy, not to see. It's not something that you see. It's crazy to encounter that you cannot really do sometimes whatever you feel like doing because of whatever. It's just really strange to have that happen. I wasn't really hoping that I'd be capable of streaming yesterday, yes, for whichever reason. But at least here we are today, so I am happy with that much. Yeah, big waves, para situational projectiles. Wow. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. Too much stuff. Life is full of too many things. Sometimes too many things actually happen. Too much goes on. Too many. Also, I looked at I cannot really hide the cursor because I have to still pick the upgrades which appear here. Amazing. What if I place it here? The worst possible placement. But yeah, I was saying, I don't know, something out of the whole aspect of encountering stops and obstacles in your existence, basically. I was expecting to be capable of being here yesterday. It couldn't happen. That's okay, yes. That's absolutely fine. Sometimes stuff is out of your control and you can just adjust yourself to whichever thing actually gets to happen, so yeah. But what the fuck? Besides that, I don't know, I feel like it's so difficult sometimes. In which sense? Great question. It's difficult just in the sense of, I don't know, why is it so normalized sometimes to be, I wouldn't say absent in itself, it's not the proper way to say it, but it's going to directly be going against what I saw earlier, but to be so willing to say, yeah, you know what, I couldn't do what I wanted, but it's fine, doesn't matter. I don't think so, man. Sometimes it's actually worth it to be capable of saying, wow, I couldn't do what I wanted because there were some problems. Isn't that bad, really? Isn't thing my inability to enjoy the stuff that I want to something that I should try to think out, like, yeah, you know what, today I didn't get to do what I wanted. But there is no point in me trying to think out that, you know? Like, it happened. It is whatever. No, it isn't whatever. It is not at all whatever. Yet, the norm is, I shouldn't care. But the reality is quite different in terms of, shouldn't I try to actually care a little bit about that? Like, isn't the stuff that I get to do and the stuff that I get to enjoy and whatnot something that matters? Why decide that it has no importance? Like, which judgment am I using to say that, yeah, that doesn't matter? It's sometimes, I feel like without it's necessary the whole basic analysis of, yeah, today I cannot do what I want. What can I get out of that? I don't know, so much of the experience that you see out there is, yeah, you know what, you don't really get to enjoy what you are looking forward to. But you don't have to think out of that. You have no reason to care about that at all. Like, if it happens that you not get to enjoy something, it doesn't really have any importance. Like, why would you try to act like it matters? Why would you try to act like it truly possesses any importance in your existence or whatnot? And I don't know, it's that whole desire, I guess, to live without any care for all of that stuff, without any interest in getting to some conclusion, no? To getting to somehow understand what happened and what not. Being so absent is bad. Yeah, and I feel like unavoidably there is always a little bit to learn from things. The issue is, I feel like, yeah, the eternal problem of there is something to probably learn almost from everything. Indeed, but I also have to do a lot of work to actually learn some things sometimes. So I don't really feel like learning anything, getting anything out of what we are doing, what we are saying, what we are encountering, what we are, whatever. Not because I truly do not want to, in terms of, yeah, it's so much better to not care at all. No, simply because it takes some time. And I don't know, I feel like, nah, it's a good explanation in a way, actually. When something requires a little bit of actions to be performed, the whole notion that it doesn't instantaneously appear. When I see it contrasted with what other people gets to do and what's not, at that point already, I get to cast some form of judgment on what I am doing myself, because I still have in my mind the memory of other people. Like, it's not me, but unavoidably someone else also did this thing, and they did it without any problem whatsoever, and they did it without requiring anything else, and they, in their eyes and their experience and their selfness and whatever, they had an entirely different encounter with the world and whatnot, no? And unavoidably I didn't. And unavoidably I get to be angry because of that. Not righteously, but I get to act angry, and I get to act like it truly has so much of an importance. And because it is so, in the end I end up having so much of those possible excuses of, yeah, you know what, today, amazing. The merchant, watch this guy sells stuff. Will I stop to describe anything? I don't know, man. I guess you can actually watch it. Like you can see that I'm playing a Survivors game. Cannot really give you much description. I hope it makes any sense at all whatsoever, like the gameplay itself, but I don't think I'm going to describe much. That's not my point today. That's not what I am aiming at. Yeah, so yeah. I was saying anyways. Yeah. That, yeah, I don't know. That whole attitude towards, yeah, I have these problems and I have these situations and I have this whole plethora of stuff, and when I see it, not from my perspective of I need to have some patience and what's not, but rather from, but this, my friend, my colleague, this other person that I know about, did or had to try to do the same, and they didn't have any issue whatsoever. Isn't that then a problem of mine and something that I struggle with? And that's an incredibly easy excuse to some degree of, yeah, you know what, I hate having to think about my stuff, because when I do so, I encounter that what I am trying to do and what I am trying to offer and what's not is filled with those similar ways of treating the rest of the world. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I am doing, because I can always utilize an example of someone who did the same or a similar thing better, and because of that, I can always eternally be judging what I did from an inferior perspective, and I don't need to do any work in order to actually get to have a proper approach to how I see my progression towards anything. And simply because of that, it always ends up being annoying to have to think about anything associated to, yeah, and you know what, today I myself have to go towards, I don't know, I am practicing. I am trying to make sure that I get to accomplish what I want. I am trying to work towards this goal of mine that requires a certain degree of effort unavoidably. And all of that is stuff which, once again, the moment I can stop being fair to myself and stop utilizing some method which lets me not actually be so discouraged about my approach to things, is the moment in which I actually have to also encounter a lot of, you know what, perhaps I was being too harsh before, and to change all of that is also, in itself, it's always difficult, because out of nowhere now I also realize perhaps I was doing something wrong before, perhaps I wasn't really gaining anything properly because I got so accustomed to treating stuff in that way, and now I have the option of doing much better, and I want to do better, but to admit also all the other mistakes from the past takes a lot of effort, and being honest, I don't really feel like doing that, because in the end, I am a person, and I have my handful of struggles, but I don't really want to out loud say, yeah, you know what, I screwed up so much before. And that is understandable. I feel like it's understandable to some degree. Like, I don't know, man. I cannot really complain about having so many issues with the attitudes that I possess towards things in general. It's like, I feel like most of what you see out there can simply be what happened to the text. I have literally no range. Makes sense. I screwed up my own build. Can happen. But we will recover from this tiny incident. Yes, at some point, somehow, no clue how, no clue if it will really happen or if I actually fucked up. One has to have faith, I guess. Projectile range. Thank you so much. Okay, you see? Told you. Anyway, I was saying that yeah, I don't know. Too much of that whole I can try to slowly change how I associate to stuff and whatnot. But in doing so I also need to sadly put a lot of effort into admitting the previous issues, and I don't really feel like every single day I can go out there and admit, yeah, I have all of these wrongdoings. Like, what's the best way to say it is always with have you sinned, brother? No, man, I cannot admit that. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you wanting me to have such an admission? Like, are you crazy? I don't talk out that sort of stuff. Don't expect me to say anything related to that. If it happens that I ever bring up something like that, it won't be because I was willing to do so. So, simply because of that tradition. Now I get to have the card of, indeed, there might be something going on, there might be something that I am trying to do something out and whatnot. Also, wait, give me a second. No, don't give me a second, give me a second once we actually kill those. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, true. Amazing. What a boss. Actually playing like in a higher difficulty, I just realized we are playing in normal, entirely normal. I didn't mean to do that. I I got nervous. No, not nervous. I was way too much looking forward to just starting to run, starting the stream. Yes, something out. Oh my god! Finally, I can stream. So yeah, I take care of myself. Sorry. But yeah, anyway, I was saying, Wait. This, uh, this, give me this. I should go both this. Yeah. I was saying that, yeah, I don't know, something out the whole aspect of, and it does play some role to actually be capable of having in mind, thinking, considering, trying to picture in some way, trying to approach the whole question of, and I don't know, how can I healthily be capable of fixing that association with previous issues and whatnot. In the end, the final conclusion is always, once I get to actually do that, I also get to not be so annoyed at anything in general. Like, it should be a goal of mine to actually be capable of admitting, talking out previous instances in which stuff didn't go absolutely well, because it's not something so complicated. Once I finally get to do that, I can analyze and I can finally conclude things and I can finally move from that point onwards forward with a better mentality, with a more clear picture as to what could be a tendency of mine which is in some way bad, which is in some way capable of affecting me and whatnot. And yeah, doing so is I my favorite thing to blame society. Wow, for sure it is society's problem, not at all my issue, not at all something that I also said, you know what, you are telling me that I can do that? For you have to be so right, for sure, absolutely. You are so correct in your assessment. I now that you give me this option, I have no need to anymore think about it in any other way myself. But the problem is you. It's the person who says something like that. It's the community in which such notions are normalized. It's the society itself which nests all of those ideas and whatnot, supposedly. And simply because of that, I don't know, I feel like it's the cheap choice. It doesn't really have to be that the case. Like, I always. The problem is what other things force onto me, not what I do to live in the world, what I see when I go out there and act in accordance to what I encounter. Like, I am a grown-up person, but I am not really a grown-up person because sometimes I am unavoidably affected by things which I could have under my control, which I could in some way not be so attached to. But we shall all assume that I am instead almost like a baby, incapable of controlling any of my instincts and incapable of controlling anything of my impulses. And if you tell me something, I will unavoidably act in accordance to what you are giving me. And all of that being so present, so absolutely normal, that yeah, you for sure are right. You for sure are correcting your assessment of, and this is something that troubles me, and this is something that affects me so negatively without me ever having anything to do about that and whatnot. And I don't know, it's amazing to lose so much control over the world in so to speak. Fuck. The fuck is this? Amazing. First time I see that there is a unique companion that literally revives you. Amazing. But yeah, I was saying. And I don't know, it's. I feel like whenever it's bad, you can always go for that option and say, no, the problem is what happens out there. It's not my problem, the problem is everything else. The problem is this world that made me be like this. And I don't know. It's not something like being a psychopath, that unavoidably you will always utilize the proper argument for, oh no, this poor person was already shaped in that way from the very beginning, from the very first day of their life, and there was nothing to actually change. It was bound to be like that. Suddenly, society in its entirety has failed this poor human being, because we have all abandoned them, and because we have all only realized our mistakes once it was too late and whatnot. No, we are talking about something else. We're talking about literally, can you have some self-reflection capacity? It's not that difficult. It's not that complicated, I feel like. But people love to make so much stuff overly complicated without any reason whatsoever. And in that sense, it's that I don't know, I'm happy. My point was from the very beginning, I was trying to go towards the conclusion that I don't know, yeah. It's sad to see that sometimes there are so many things to try, to contemplate, for the sake of getting to say, today we're enjoying all of this stuff, today we're enjoying all of these possibilities, today life is yet once again great. No, it never is great. There is always something troll me, and there is always something to complain. I don't know, man. Life is great, I feel like. And yeah, my point was something along those lines, basically. I lost myself in my own rant. Excuse me? I have no clue how much I have been speaking. But yeah, so far, that's the game, I guess. That's the game that I chose to. It's simple enough, I have to say. I feel like it's incredibly basic, so I am good with this kind of game. I feel like they are the best to some degree. Like, wow, really? Something like this? Amazing. Otherwise, it's way too, I wouldn't say difficult, but unavoidably hard to encounter something like this in the wild. Like, we have so many other Kino games, quote unquote, that we shall ignore this one. No, we shall not do that. Give me this. Throw. XP, I guess. Anyway, and I was saying, also we're almost done with the run, but we're going to loop. I have no clue how much it lasted so far, but we're going to loop. I need to loop actually. We cannot play only one difficulty. We need to go around the entire area and then come back here and win even harder later on. No, not because of that, but yeah, I was saying that anyways. And I don't know, the point that I was trying to make besides the sensation itself of being great and whatnot, and it's difficult once you can actually quote unquote integrate to your existence the whole aspect of yeah, you know what, today I have not so many problems being, not so many situations which hold me back, not so many things that I have never understood in any manner, and if there are problems, I cannot identify them and I cannot act according to a possible solution regarding those very same problems, you know? No, I can actually try to do something about that. I can actually try to solve stuff in some way, and it's actually great. It's actually quite amazing. But it's normal for us to never care about that, and it's normal for us to have this so absent that it never needs to be taken as a possibility. And despite whatever the norm is, when I get to have it existing in my life, there is still a situation of, and sometimes there are still indeed so many other things outside of your control anyways. It's so beautiful. Oh yeah, you need to have some agency over your life. And that's the moment in which you slowly have to come to the realization of, what the fuck are you talking about? You are telling me, what's the best meme for hyper-connected people like us? Something about the whole aspect of, you are telling me that if tomorrow a shark wakes up incredibly angry and decides to chew on the cables deep on the sea, I am absolutely incapable of doing anything about that, and that is something that is going to affect me also. Like, it's not just a funny occurrence, no, it's something that has a real effect on my own life. Like, What's another example of that very same sort? It's bad. It's a bad one, but it's still a realistic one. If I can make sure that I did everything well myself, but if when I decide to go out tomorrow, somebody had a bad enough day, I can still get hurt out there on the street simply because somebody said, you know what? Fuck this random person. What? And I have to live with that, and I have to be acceptant of that. What are you talking about, man? But it is indeed the normalized thing, so it's not like we truly have the capacity to care about that in any way, sadly. But yeah, my point was something else. Anyways, not exactly that. My point was that, and sadly, it's something that comes with the whole desire to understand and with the whole desire to actually get to see things for what they are and get to live a more free life and a more agency-filled existence in which I don't say that I am so subjected to nothing, but rather one in which I get to do what I feel like doing, one in which I get to actually act according to what I want to do and what not. And still, that whole factor, randomness, is something way too difficult to actually think out. I feel like that's the proper way to say it. A randomness is way too measurable, whereas sadly still, it's incredibly hard to actually say, and today, despite my will, despite my intentions, despite my capacities to set up stuff, my everything, despite all that I do, things can still go wrong. And I don't know, it's at that point, yeah, it loops back into, and I still have to, I guess, grow up properly and be capable of saying, doesn't matter. Even if something wrong happens, even if something bad stops us from doing what we want exactly, it's all good, quote unquote. It's not that bad, supposedly, but I don't know, saying that in itself is kind of hard actually. Being capable of standing by that belief, let's say, is incredibly difficult. Not because it doesn't come as a natural conclusion that, yeah, you know what, sometimes stuff just doesn't go the way in which we want things to go, but rather because, once again, it's incredibly absurd to actually have to admit that something of that sort happened. Like, you're truly telling me that something incredibly random was what affected my desires, was what damaged what I was trying to get done. That's the thing that I have to worry about. That's the thing that I also have to take into account whenever I feel like thinking about my existence in general. That's the stuff, not something else. That kind of situation. And indeed it is, sadly. Also, I said we are going to loop. We are actually going to loop, yeah. Yeah, we are. How many loops? I have no clue. I think we can. Wait, how much time did we actually spend on that first run? A little bit like over half an hour, yeah. So we can perhaps try to do something like that. It should be good. It should be good. But yeah, I was saying, sorry. And I don't know, stuff of that sort is always present. It's always possible to try to think out anything of that kind, but to do so in itself, like actually worry, actually think out, that is hard. There are still so many other factors to try to grasp, to try to think out, that it's surprising sometimes when so much still remains undecipherable, so to speak, you know? Sadly, this world still is a mystery in so many ways, an absolute mystery no matter what. But that's also what makes life far more enjoyable, you know? What makes being here an amazing thing that so many other things can go so not wrong, but so completely against our predictions in a totally different direction than what we were truly thinking about and what we were truly expecting. That it is fine for that to happen, and it is fine for that to be the case. And yeah, I don't know, it's just life, I guess. Trying to understand it's still life that one has to live until life that one has been given such. But anyways, my point is still it's great. It's good enough. Besides that now, because I have been kicking the same chorus for the last half hour, I feel like it's still quite an amazing encounter with so many other things I have been lately. I have been continuing to study, and I feel like it's fantastic to do that. I am somebody who has no problem saying, yeah, it's so great to study, but I feel like it's good to say that. The issue is every other person who I have heard that very same idea from has, or not every single one, like literally, but let's say it like perhaps 20% of the people who have utilized that saying was capable of actually doing it in a way in which I didn't feel lied to, in which I didn't feel like it was actually false. There was a degree of actual truthness behind the act of, yeah, you know what, today it's a wonder to be capable of studying. Oh, you young mind, you should take advantage of something like that. And the condescending attitude towards, yeah, you know what, you should be studying, you shouldn't be doing anything else. You are a young person, you still have so much time, you should be studying because studying is so amazing. Why are you not doing that? No, it's the good attitude towards it's actually amazing. And the issue is, sadly, there is such an unwillingness to do it. But I'm amazed at all by the reaction towards that. If I, being honest, when people like that appears, it all becomes so much more understandable when somebody says, oh no, I don't really feel like doing it, I don't really feel like going towards what you are telling me. I don't have the desire to do that. Con pizza, hope you're good. And I don't know, it's bad that it can be so much the case, but I am still happy for the whole aspect of it can still be a vision that can get fixed in some way. Like, no matter how many bad encounters with bad professors, with bad teachers, with somebody who is unwilling to actually perform the act of transmitting information to me, no matter how many times that thing occurs, there is still a possibility to encounter at a later stage in my own life a good one and a proper one which actually lets me be happy and which actually lets me not have such a problematic relationship with the whole performance. Not exactly performance, simply thing that gets to occur, you know. And I feel like, yes, once again, it's too much the case that there is no need for that to be something to actually care about. But it does play quite a huge role in some way. I don't know. I'm annoyed. I'm always annoyed by that whole perspective of, and it's so easy to see people like that. Like, it's so easy to see somebody trying. It's a bad idea, but the reality still is. Sadly, even nowadays, we are way too willing to accept people who might not be truly in the best of conditions to perform and stuff. Sadly, despite having so many people, it's fine to have so many mediocre people doing things that should require someone a little bit more capable. And if the whole conclusion for you do not want to study comes because literally somebody like that was in position, I feel angry. I feel annoyed, rather. It's upsetting to realize, to hear, to have a conversation with somebody and see, you don't really hate studying because, I don't know, you are under that percentile of people who struggle so much with the whole aspect of studying, you know? You're not the person who, in some way or another, has so many trolls trying to actually pay attention to a class, trying to follow any argument that is being created and whatnot. You actually can very well approach what is being said, understand what is being said, be capable of doing something with what is being said. You are not incapable of anything. You just have around you people who never allowed you to realize that capacity within yourself, who even tried to see if that existed to begin with, like, maybe you can do something good in this field that you have some sort of interest on. Maybe you don't, but we will never know. Because the opportunity for you to realize that isn't going to be given to you here. So, go screw yourself. No, we don't say that openly because we don't want you to realize that we don't care. So, we will utilize much softer methods to keep you around without any actual reason to do so. And all of that happens to such a degree that I don't know, man. It's weird. But yeah, my point was, and I don't know, I feel like even if it is the case that sometimes if stuff of that sort can so naturally happen, it is still great to see that every so often somebody still has the capacity to encounter, has the capacity to approach and talk about anything associated to. And I did find something that I care about. I did find something that I wanted to actually do, despite those previous situations, which led me to realize that indeed it is so hard to possess any interests of that sort and whatnot. And it's nicer to actually have the capacity to do something like that, even if it is still dependent on too much effort in order to actually get to say, yeah, I like this. I am having a good time doing this thing. So much, I don't know, it sounds weird, but I don't feel like it's absolutely false. There is quite a huge degree of friction towards saying that I am having a good time at all. The whole tradition of, no, you never should be. Not that you cannot express. There are two different ideas at play. The first one is you should never openly share that you're having a good time. You are almost making fun of those who are having a bad time the moment in which you openly describe your good times. This newer notion that has become instilled so much in the current world, in which the norm is for us to not be capable of saying that we are doing great. Because if I tell you that I'm doing great, honestly, and you're not doing great, I'm making fun of you, even if that is never my intention, because I am not capable of conceiving that you might be doing bad, and if you're doing bad, and I tell you that I am doing good, then you will now sink even deeper into your problems, because how come you analyze, you search my situation, and you come to the conclusion, how come this person who I knew about for X amount somehow is having a good time, and I am not. How can this poor guy like what's the whole example? How can is it indecent? I think it is, no? How can this person who lives on the streets actually have a good time, but I cannot have one? What are you talking about? What's my problem? Why I cannot appreciate so much what I have? And that ends up making the problems of everyone even deeper. But we have accepted that. But that is one thing. That's not exactly what I'm trying to talk about. That does exist in itself, yeah. I think like on a level it is still horribly bad, horribly annoying to be so influenced by all of that. The degree to which that does have a huge influence in life is bad. But it's not the end of the world. Like that happens. Indeed that happens. But it's whatever, to some degree it's whatever. Like, it doesn't really kill me if I realize that, wow, indeed, my problems, I am making all of them look much bigger than what they actually are. But there is another different tradition of you cannot have a good time. You do not deserve to have a good time in life. You do not deserve to enjoy things. Because to be an adult means to be somebody who encounters always so many bad things and so many horrible things and who deals with so many such a traumatic world. To the degree to which the message ends up unavoidably being transformed into this absolutely strange, absolutely crazy notion of, and you know what? Therefore, that also means that you are going to be bound to so many other layers of, and perhaps you will never get to truly enjoy what you want, because you will always be bounded by the troubles that you have. You will never get to have something that you truly love doing, that you truly have some degree of pleasure, can derive some sort of pleasure from doing it, simply because, like everyone else, you're also bound to be annoyed by what you are trying to do always. And all of those associations ends up making not only, but unavoidably, just like everything else, then something like learning grade. But I don't know. The point is, the moment in which something of that sort gets to be resolved, I feel like unavoidably life becomes a lot more enjoyable. There is so much out there available, there is so much. The point came from, I started reading Levi Strauss. What an amazing reading! I wasn't expecting that. Like, what an amazing author! I guess. Even, oh no, yeah, but his ideas, I don't care about his ideas. I'm not talking about that right now. Do not twist my point. Do not make an aberrant interpretation of what I am saying. It is a good way of writing that he has. I don't know about many more things. I have no clue about many more other aspects, but the very superficial way in which he's capable of demonstrating and speaking out his field makes the whole rest of the process of going through all of that far more enjoyable, and all of that possesses such a weight behind it that it leads me sadly unavoidably to what I said before. Sometimes you encounter somebody who isn't capable of doing something like that. Sometimes you encounter somebody who seems to be so absolutely unwilling to actually put effort into making what they create good, into putting any sort of emotion, not emotion, like, that's not the proper word actually. There is no degree of interest in making what you are creating enjoyable by itself. You just expect whatever you make to be. It's, I don't think it is fair to say that what you create has to always be good, no matter what. That's not even a fair idea when you actually compare it to somebody who does think like that. It's simply the absolute uncaringness for whatever you make. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't care. I did it. Wow. I am such an advanced person because I keep on making so many things without any consideration whatsoever for what is of them after I created them. And all of that is, I don't know, way too strange to see, actually. Like, I can say it, happily, I can say it, but to actually see it happen, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. How can it truly be so much the case that, and you know what? Today, I spent so much of my time trying to see something with any degree of importance, with any degree of that same substance behind it. And I could never encounter something like that, no matter how much I tried. And that's surprising. That's an astounding aspect of existence, yes. So much that seems to be subsector to utterly undescribable aspects is a more than amazing side. Because indeed, I don't know, life is not really that bad in terms of, yeah, so much is, I wouldn't say meaningless, at least. I haven't tried to think about that. I feel like on a way we're not really that much in a completely nihilist alignment with it, or in regards to what is the rest of life. We are still to some degree incredibly negative in regards to some other stuff, but that doesn't really have much to do with an absolutely dark perspective regarding all of our notions and all of our creations and whatnot. We have some degree of, let's wait, I have no clue what this is. I guess, yeah, should be ready to continue. XP, I don't think I need that. Gold pouches, I don't think I need that. I think I will take the XP actually. Give me this. Okay, with this we are done with the first loop. I don't think I want to do a second loop. I feel like it's going to be pointless to some extent. There are rewards behind doing it, but I think that there are diminishing rewards. Anyway, I was saying, the real point was, and I don't know, so much of those attitudes could have been to some degree solved. The issue is also, we're so, an unwillingness, yes, what the fuck did I just say? Unwillingness denotates that there is a degree of care about the notion. That's what I was trying to say. I don't think that's the alignment that we have in regards to stuff at all. Also, I just realized probably this game has, taking into consideration how great the music is, I wouldn't be surprised if all of it is copyrighted. I will probably have a meltdown if the bot on YouTube dies because of that. Can happen. I should have thought about that before opening this game. Yes, skill issue. Whatever. But yeah, I was saying that unwillingness talks out the whole quality of care actually existing. I don't think we live so much in a caring society, so to speak. No, nobody truly has an interest in saying, yeah, you know what? These problems, these situations, this stuff could be in some way fixed, addressed, talk about. No, nobody. And on the other, it's not like it is self-apparent why you should have any degree of that to begin with. You might never truly understand. Possibly. As long as you're not looking forward to that, as long as you're not actually trying to get that, like, there are some things that happen naturally without any input from us whatsoever, but there are so many other order of things, layers of encounters with the world that are totally related to how we can actually associate with ideas and associate with notions and associate with whatever of that same sort in a proper manner. And sadly, I feel like indeed this is yet another one of those of maybe you can to some degree get to understand that yeah, this becomes important. Me having a proper desire towards what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, what I'm encountering, etc. That's a lot of times to do with how much I actually get to see it mattering for me. If I never made it, I don't think it's fine. Even if I never made sure that I constituted this thing as something positive, I still have the chance to talking about it in a good light. I don't think so. And the other idea that I was saying, even if I never think about it myself, the world will just give to me the conclusion one day, like, unavoidably, this is very much a meta-analysis, a meta-paragraph or a conclusion of sorts, but it is still the truth of whatever I am telling you here. It doesn't matter because I am saying it. It matters because you have an interest in what is being said. The whole expression of the content of what is expressed is not in itself valuable. It's the association that the person can make with such content that makes it then valuable, because you can derive from that any sort of meaning and further value to keep on ensuring its existence. It doesn't matter. What's a better perspective? I don't know. The whole notion of does anyone hear a tree fall in the forest? In the empty forest? Something here. It's not what's expressed what matters. Is what the degree to which you care about what is said that makes it actually have some sort of importance or not, also unavoidably. And I don't know, I guess the sad conclusion could also be that unavoidably many times it also sadly gets painted as something absolutely unimportant that you have. Once again, it's fine for us to think that the world is such an uncaring place, not because the world loves to cuddle you in any way, but rather because in itself somehow it is fine for you to truly believe so much the lie of yeah, nothing matters regarding the interest of people or not. Once again, there is such a huge degree of importance behind the whole aspect of, okay, the thing that is expressed here, do you personally care about that or not? If you don't, no matter how much of a great thing it is in itself, you will never get to do anything regarding that. You will never get to make anything out of what you are dealing with, you know? Also, I just realized that was Cooling Strike, killing the boss. Amazing. I can cool strike the boss? What a wonder. Okay. We are done with this first loop. We are done with this character. Let me play something else. Another character, not something different. Sorry, I was lying. I'm not going to play another game today. Hehe. This. There is fishing in this game. What is this game even about? You unlock fishing. Move to the slider to keep the fish inside the catch zone. Okay. Higher fishing level makes rarer fish easier to catch. Your catches, fish can be traded and used for different rewards. What? How do we... I have to move it with the mouse. I see. Makes sense. I was like, how the fuck do you even move it? No, it is with the mouse. Okay, I guess this has become a fishing game somehow. Anyway, I was saying, and I don't know, it's in that same alignment. I feel like when is something related to the whole aspect of, okay, what are you capable of doing? What are you capable of describing when it comes to the whole aspect of what you can say matters and what you can say possesses any sort of importance regarding what you can study and what not. All of that also is sadly still utterly unappreciated and utterly discarded in so many ways when it doesn't need to be the case. There is still a lot of content out there available that relies first and foremost on the whole aspect of how much can you actually encounter something that matters to you. And all of that, once again, the alignment ends up being, yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if you feel like it has any sort of importance, it doesn't matter at all. Even if you think that it has any sort of importance, you're dead wrong, because that's not the case at all. Like, it never will have any weight whatsoever on the decisions that you get to make, on the stuff that you get to see, on the stuff that you get to do and whatnot. It only has some sort of importance in as far as you actually can have something that simply works, and the whole desire to be so, I guess you can say, to be so operational about everything, like, yeah, you know what, this all is going to be so easy to deal with, as long as I get to make my cut of the, my end of the deal work out, basically. And too much of that works in that very same alignments, sadly, when it shouldn't be the case, when it should never be the case that so much of it is so meaningless, so to speak. But the normalization of all of that uncaringness and the degree to which we are so capable of acting like it truly has no importance whatsoever ends up being something that makes you lose all capacity to actually analyze that. I feel like all capacity to say it, not say something of importance, but rather say that you're understanding what's happening, the whole aspect of, I can quickly enough see what's the point behind what we are doing and what not. Or I can struggle so much because no matter what, it's also sometimes quite impossible to actually get any proper conclusion, get any good enough, simple enough take out of what I am seeing, out of what I am exploring, out of what I have already gathered in regards to the information available out there. And so much of the world, because of that also nowadays gets to be so much more undecipherable. Like, no wonder people are going to have a hard time getting something out of what they do if, as a condition of existence in itself, sometimes it is almost necessary for you to be utterly incapable of knowing what's the point behind what you're doing, what's the real meaning behind what you are trying to work towards and what's not. And I don't know. It's bad, yes, but we have it all to normalize it still. Also, wait, I can play on Nightmare too? No, I can only play on Nightmare 1. Okay, there we go. You can't reroll your perks. What a great upgrade. Give me this. So what did it say? Enemies what? Doesn't matter, I didn't want to see what the upgrade was anyways, you know? For sure. What's a great upgrade actually? So meaningful? But yeah, I was saying, basically. And I don't know, it's so strange sometimes. All of that stuff, like, it all never has an importance and it all never has any degree of meaning. When it's not the case at all, like, without things have some sort of purpose. Things can carry with them layer of importance and whatnot. But we have it normalized that it isn't the case, that it never has to be the case, and then the wonder ends up being, oh wow, how can that be? That somehow we all have a bad encounter with the rest of life, when my alignment with the world is never all that bad. It just so happens that I'm all... Just realized something. Give me a second. I was talking way too much, I didn't get my upgrades, thank you very much. My free upgrades. It's the only thing that makes any run work. And I didn't get it. I am sorry. No. But I contract to winning. Yes. Wasn't intentional. I sure do it wasn't intentional. You cannot deal critical strikes against the bosses. You are crazy. You are deranged if you think I'm going to take that. You're absolutely crazy. But yeah, I was saying, I don't know, so much of all of that is always bad. In the end, it's a strange, yeah, in its very first conception, and in its very first way of being, it's quite difficult to actually grasp. But it also has a lot of aspects that are outright negative, like it's not be so much something that we're willing to act like it doesn't matter. Yet we stand absolutely unfazed by all of those things. It's fine for you to never have something that you truly like. It's fine for you to never have something that you truly enjoy. It's absolutely good for you to carry such attitudes forward, when it should never be the case to some degree. You are given the possibility almost always of encountering things that might in some way or another matter for you. Therefore, it shouldn't be all that crazy to think that indeed, now that you get to have that, you also get to enjoy far more benefits from trying to see what can actually also come out of what you're working on, what you're working towards, what you are so interested in accomplishing and such. And with knowledge, it is still the very same thing. It's not like knowledge is a separate category of its own. It's simply that the norm ends up becoming that, yeah, you know what, it's all good. Even if you try to care about that, even if you try to have any degree of, I wouldn't say respect, but yeah, of interest regarding what is being done, what you're doing, what you're working on, and what's not, all of that doesn't lead to anything really, so you don't have still to possess any layer of once an importance, care, anything like that. You don't need to have that exist. And because that very same message is so propagated, then we are all finding ourselves surrounded by that very same notion of Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, maybe it has some degree of importance. But we can never outright talk out that, declare any of those things properly, because how to do something like that if the nature of our very existence still nowadays has become that, you know what, it doesn't matter. Even if it did matter, you have to act like it doesn't matter. And even if it did matter to which you should stop being so willing to say that it has no importance, you are going to have a much better life the moment in which you can continue acting like it truly still has no importance. And those very sensations have been so propagated that nowadays it's the norm. Nowadays it's what's accepted suddenly. And I don't know. I feel like unavoidably it is something bad. Unavoidably it is something unnecessary to some extent, even the whole aspect of, and you know what? Even if you could care, even if you could possess some layer of interest on the thing, it's all fine. Because you don't need it. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's actually far more wonderful to have the capacity to think out those things by yourself. Have the capacity to reach some sort of conclusion, you know? About all of that stuff whenever you're capable of, with your own hands, with your own mind. And I don't know, life is still such a weird thing, no matter how much one keeps living, so that only adds even more to that whole layer of, and life is indeed absolutely strange like that. But in the end, we're also accustomed to it being weird by default, that it's not like it's truly something bad, that it is strange. No. At this point in life, it's just the normal thing, like, oh wow, unsurprisingly, life is strange. Wow. Surprisingly. Who could have expected that? This life being strange? No way. That it's out, no way. No way. This world isn't at all strange. This world isn't at all in any way full of mysteries and full of things that at a first glance make no sense. This world is never of such characteristics. This world never carries with it such layers of strangeness to it. This world, all of it, is instantaneously understandable and is instantaneously decipherable in one way or another. When, sadly, yeah, that's not so much the case always. So much of it is still is such a wonder to look at on one hand, but on the other one, still such a strange stuff. But we're accustomed to things being like that still, so it's not like it's truly solved or what, I guess. Also, I don't know, I need to hydrate, I haven't hydrated. Okay, it comes in very handy, probably after this was. Also, this character, unavoidably I chose the no range upgrade myself, but this character is quite bad, despite all of that. Like, I like how dodge, the space bar, which is for dodging, doesn't really dodge anything. Like, what an amazing upgrade, my man. What an absolutely amazing upgrade, for sure. Give me this, give me this, give me this one for free. Anything else? If I vanish you, yeah. 4 frontal projectiles. Your projectiles are scattered. Ah, amazing. There we go. Your area contains I am companion. That will be not that great, I guess. 25. This one. This is actually horrible. Like, so much of the game relies on crit against the boss. Also, no, wait. I said I was going to. What a terrorist, I guess. What an absolute theory of terrorist. Anyways, continuing. Or, not really continuing. I don't really have much to add to what I was saying before. On a completely different line, sorry. Okay, not an entirely different one. I started with that, then I lost myself in all of that auto analysis, or I think I utilized it more as a mobile for something different, for a different allegory and whatnot. Sorry. My real point now is, and I know I said I was reading this guy Levi Strauss. I am amazed by people who are capable of having that whole capacity to write something so beautiful like that. It's once again, it's strange to see it happen because normally, by default, you don't encounter many of those creations, but it is always great to finally have the possibility to see something like that, and to finally have the possibility to see. I chose the entirely wrong thing. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Anyways, I was saying, that people of that sort, I feel like it has. You also have to have a real artistic sort of writer, which is to some degree difficult because I can give you the name and we can all be like, yeah, for sure, that guy. But if you haven't read him, it will make no sense whatsoever. So I guess a simpler example would be someone like Durkheim, for example. When you talk about somebody of that kind, also you encounter that indeed this person isn't as entirely unenjoyable as I thought that they were. There is a lot of. I can finally see why it matters to see somebody who likes doing what they do, and knowing somebody who likes doing what they do when I am trying to educate myself in regards to those subjects. Because I was gonna say it's perhaps a weird idea. Not really, it's not a weird idea. It's the sad reality. You can actually have the capacity to feel something of that sort happen or not. Whenever you see somebody who possesses within themselves that much of an interest for actually making what they are creating something so beautiful, you're stricken by that realization of, oh wow, this person is actually doing a very great job. This person is actually doing a very amazing work in what they are saying. The way in which they try to approach the things that they talk about, the way in which they try to communicate their stuff and whatnot, all of those things are very great, and I can extract many conclusions from out of their work and from out of the things that they try to talk out and whatnot. And it's easy to disregard all of that during different conditions, like in other times, you could have said, yeah, it doesn't matter, doesn't seem to have any importance whatsoever. But I don't know, I think that sadly, nowadays, perhaps you could say it like this, nowadays, it might as well be the most important aspect of life to have the capacity to see somebody like that, to have the capacity to know someone who does stuff in that way, with that approach to the subject and whatnot. Because otherwise, there is too much information available out there nowadays. There are too many guides, too many people trying to teach the same thing, and do not have in itself the capacity then, to know someone who also is as willing to say anything for those subjects with actual interest, with an actual degree of care for the subject at hand, makes it far less beneficial for the person. I was gonna say far less meaningful, but it's not even about the meaningfulness. It makes it about the benefits that you gain from the whole thing. Like, going back to what I was saying before, if the professor that doesn't care about teaching at all, you might as well suddenly have a much worse time going through what you are trying to study and also sadly trying to approve. And because that is the case to such a degree, it also is necessary to include in that whole equation the layers of care that some people get to have in regards to, okay, what we are trying to talk about here. Can I explain it in any meaningful way? Can I be capable of showing what I am talking about in any surprising new way and whatnot? Or are we all bound to be subjected to the very same 5 or 4 basic notions and nothing else that would ever possess any actual impact on what others think about the thing that I am trying to teach you about, you know? When the norm becomes for everyone to be so absolutely uncaring about that, which was my point in the sense of when you don't really need to possess any interest in what you're saying, when you don't really need to possess any degree of care on all of that, sadly there are a lot of consequences, and I don't feel like all of them are really that great. To some degree, I guess you can always say it's good to have somebody who isn't absolutely immersed in the whole aspect of I will show you and I will teach you and I will demonstrate to you with the greatest of arguments and whatnot the most important parts of my discipline. Because sometimes you need to have somebody who isn't. Sadly, you can talk about it like this. Subjects are wonderful. What the fuck is this? What did that? What? What? Where did this upgrade come from? Like, excuse me? Hey, I'm not going to take you. Anyways, I guess. Yeah. Okay. What a random upgrade. What an absolutely random upgrade. Why did it give me like a 10% chance to not die on hit? Amazing, I guess. What a random encounter. Anyways, I was saying. And I don't know, I feel like sadly it's actually a great conclusion. That's not what I was trying to say at all. But I just realized. Also, you can say to some degree that's why something like AI works so well in the end. Oh no, yet again, we are back to the fucking discussion about AI here. Oh no, have you thought about AI in this, the very year of our Lord 2026? Have you not lost your mind to it today? Let me remind you of it and let me know. Sorry, that wasn't really my intention, but I feel like audibly, the argument still is that sadly, that's why it makes so much sense when something like AI gets put into the equation. Because sadly, yeah, it's far more difficult for you, me, anyone to actually get out this stuff when it has to do with that of that unexplainable degree of reality. Also, I'm going to die here if I don't play well enough. Because that enemy is impossible to kill with my current range. Sadly, but if it isn't the consequence of my own actions coming to bite me in the ass, who could have expected that? But yeah, I was saying, AI gets to have the win in that sense of, you know who cares so much about making things look interesting? Who is literally built on the prospect of making whatever they say sound like the most meaningful thing ever created, like the most amazing thing ever described to a human being. What's the machine that is at work every single time that it can to try to make sure that the one who decides to hear them gets to have the sensation that what that very machine is saying possesses some sort of care on the subject at hand. Unavoidably AI. And unavoidably, sadly, because of that, AI gets to be so much of a quote-unquote good option. Not that it really is, yes, but it feels like a good option because in the end, yeah, you know what? It works so well. It works. Let me kill myself actually. I wanted to kill myself, not to kill everything. Ah, yes. It happened, yes. Sometimes you are just lucky in the unluckiest way there. Yeah. What's I looking for? I feel like I was looking for something. Ah, yeah. Yeah, why am I even operating this? Like, I know I am operating the Gary Gold for some reason. God knows why. What's up with you? HP? Recent HP? I don't need that. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. It's all back. True. Now, what I want to try and that's the wonder of these games, I guess. That trying again is as quick as that. Dying is a natural part of the process, or something like that. Anyways. What? A hidden perk? No way! No way! What are you talking about? I chose that? I cannot see what I chose. Oh my god. I have hidden perks. What a great debuff. What I wanted the most. Have no clue what I'm choosing. What a wonderful game. Anyways. Who needs to know what's the point of what they are doing? Whatever. I was saying. I don't know. I feel like I still. The conclusion that I was trying to go toward is. Suddenly, there is a lot of. I feel like. Places in which the most obvious conclusion ends up being. Sadly, in that sense, stuff along the lines of AI has the upper hand, sadly. Stuff along the lines of, yeah, those technologies that are capable of, even if it isn't honest in terms of, even if it isn't an actual caring thing, so to speak, an actual machine that possesses interest, even if that's not the case at all, it is still far more meaningful to have an AI willing to lie to you than to have a human who is entirely uncaring, no matter what. And sadly, that's where it wins. That's where the machine wins, basically. Because the norm is going to be that. The norm is going to be that indeed. You have no way of finding anything better than that sometimes. And sadly, you are almost forced to go through the filter of having people teach you stuff who don't care at all about what they are teaching you. And I don't know, it's bad. I feel like still I try to say it, but it is a bad thing to say in itself. Like, it's not something that complicated to get why it is bad to actually say in terms of, I don't know if I really want something like that always, but yeah, indeed we should have people who are actually capable of doing their job with passion. But you're talking about passion as if it was something so easily found out there, as if it was something that innately every single person understood how to utilize, how to exercise and whatnot. In most cases, sadly it isn't. Sadly, it never happens. What the fuck? What? How does this thing work? What? Movement speed for every consumed dash? What? For every dash that you have on cooldown, I guess. Anyway, I was saying. And it is bad to say, yeah, you know what? We actually need to have somebody willing to do that, so. Surprising idea. Indeed, people should be willing to do what they are doing. Oh no. what's the other counter argument? Oh no, but you're trying to tell me that I need to do a show that pays so badly that I need to do something that requires so much from me with such a willingness. You have no clue about what you are saying. You are forcing me to slave myself to a system that has never had any interest at all in what I was doing, in who I was. That it gives me the tiniest paychecks that makes sure that I am always remembering that I matter nothing at all. And now you also want me to have my head high and still the newest student, the newest customer that joins me. Oh, hi, I hope you get to enjoy me. I am going to try my best. You are also part of the problem. To some degree, I can see it. I can see it. Makes sense. Certainly does make sense. But the reality is still that I don't know. I don't feel like it is absolutely honest in terms of. Doesn't make it. The problem I feel like it still is somewhere else. The problem I feel like lies far more in the whole aspect of yeah, you know what? I cannot really talk out passion in my work because I do not know how to operate within those boundaries. I do not understand how that happens at all. You know, I do not get how to make that happen. Sadly, I do not feel like that needs to occur, and I do not feel like that needs to be the case at all. Sadly, and so much of that is present still nowadays that, unsurprisingly, we're bound to have those things be the norm, and those things be what can be seen the most nowadays. Like, it's not all that surprising to go out there and hear people say, yeah, you know what, so much about passion, but when I try to have passion for my show, I just get reminded that all of it doesn't matter and whatnot. Which is to some degree, it's true. I mean, once again, it's true that sadly it's hard to properly assess passion about what you have to work on. You cannot, I don't know. You are telling me that I have to have a passion for flipping burgers? You are out of your fucking mind, my brother. Indeed, that is a delusional statement. But, still, there is a layer of, I feel, plausible work to do somewhere around that place in which, I don't know, man. You can lie to me sometimes. You can make me feel better for doing something like, I don't know, the show itself might be a horrible thing, but it isn't even an absolute lie. Sometimes there are some works that some people are, most people are absolutely unwilling to do, and to be capable of fulfilling that role is to make sure that the rest of society keeps on existing, you know, like I don't know, something that, for example, at least here, is the norm, is most blue-collar works, jobs and whatnot, are absolutely despised by the average person, not because they don't pay well, but rather because they are too fucking difficult, they are too fucking risky, they are too horrible to actually care about, too horrible to try to do something in, too horrible to try to be a participant of. They have a degree of importance, but they are not really that great, they are not really that meaningful, they are not really. They are meaningful, but the reward that you personally get is not exactly something that you look at and say, oh wow, I am being so rewarded for doing such a difficult job. I have so many great benefits at least in this society nowadays. Your efforts, what your role within the world isn't as equally rewarded, even remotely as rewarded as it should be regarding what the proper degree of deserved pay is, so to speak, you know? Also what? Yes, this and this and this. I was saying there is a whole layer of stuff of that very same sort, which still remains there in terms of, you know what? You're telling me that I need to get, and you're telling me that I need to be so willing to have some degree of importance over all of those conceptions, but the word itself doesn't give me an actual reason to do so. The word itself doesn't really give me anything to make it work. You are telling me that I have to put so much effort into feeling great about something that when I look out there, when I talk with other people, I find is absolutely trash talked. You're telling me that out of nowhere somehow I have to be capable of feeling good by myself with what I do, despite what every other person says, simply because the case is that I have to do that. It's necessary for me to do that. No, not exactly like that. It's also a lot about sometimes we are missing so much the point in terms of honor, yeah. You don't get told how much it matters, therefore that means that it doesn't matter. Sometimes wonderful things happen, even if no one else can realize them, you know? Sometimes things have a much higher degree of influence on other things, even if we are unwilling to say that. Like, I'm trying to think of a great example. What's the whole aspect? For example, when a band gets banned from one place, as long as that becomes viral enough, that's great sometimes. To have the capacity to see the stuff that you work so hard for and the stuff that you tried to put so much effort into be not just rejected, but outright despised by others. Even if that in the moment is bad, because unavoidably that makes your reputation receive some slack. Even if that is true, there is a different layer of, but that also can be quote unquote great. That can also lead to some quote unquote benefits, you know? It doesn't mean that you're absolutely banned from every single place simply because of that. You still have the possibility of talking about, of seeing other places, find out that you were prohibited from this one land, and say, wow, perhaps we don't really agree with their choices, so simply because they decided to not allow you there, now we will say that you're allowed here. You know, stuff of that sort is existent always, and the sad reality is that so much of it seems to be entirely absent. So much of I, as a person, have the capacity to think about this stuff in a way in which I could perhaps extract conclusions. I am not willing to sit down and try to do so, because the moment in which I have to actually understand, analyze, and be capable of realizing stuff about so many of my situations is the moment in which I have to confront that, once again, before I did not even try to accomplish that work at all. And now that I am minimally aware of that same occurrence here, now that I have to do that, and now that I am gifted the possibility of doing that by itself, it is that I am absolutely happy by the realization of, I can actually have that happen. I can actually have that be the case for me, and I can actually have that occur in some way. But I don't know, it's such is life, I guess, man. Such is life. I haven't, anyways. I think I literally started the stream with that, and I said I was going to move away from that, and somehow I ended up landing on the same horse that I have been at this point kicking for, I don't know, the last 2 hours or so. I am amazing, sorry. I am insane. So much. The conclusion is still the same. I feel it annoys me, basically. The point still is that it absolutely annoys me. So much for, oh no, yeah, this world is so bad. Is it really that bad, my brother? Or is it that we are all willing to sit here like absolutely lost the words without being able of saying anything of importance about what we have around us? Because to try to do so, to try to admit the importance of other stuff, is to realize that we have also disregarded so many other things. To try to be honest about why some things matter, is to have to deal with the encounter with the realization, with the sudden reality of, wow. And before, when I had this very same opportunity, I decided to criticize all those other things available, all those other things being offered to me, all those other aspects of this very same world, which could play such a huge role on my existence, such a huge role on my life. Because why? I don't really even have a good explanation as to why I chose to. I simply chose to not do it. And now I have to pay the consequences of such a choice with the entire weight of knowing that sadly, perhaps I absolutely fucked up in doing something like that. Perhaps I absolutely fucked up in saying, yeah, you know what, doesn't matter. Yes, it doesn't matter at all if I can realize why things might be of some sort of importance. No, indeed, sometimes things need to possess an explanation, and to be willing to give that explanation to the world in itself is not just something great, it's something that should be far more necessary, far more doable by the average person, but we remain willing to do so. We remain unwilling to talk out this very same condition, like, oh yeah, what I said before, so much of the world will become by itself understandable. You have no need to work on it yourself. You have no need to give it any sense, any kind of explanation. You have no need to make it understandable. It will, simply because it is, make sense out of nowhere. No, man, sometimes there is actually some degree of importance behind being capable of saying things, making things make sense and whatnot, you know? Anyways, I just realized I remember when I was starting the stream, I thought about saying it, but I forgot to say it, and now after 2 hours I remembered I have to go turn off a fan that I left on like 2 hours ago. So give me a second. Thank you. Give me a second. But it wasn't really a break by itself. I realized way too late that I left that thing on. I should have done that. My, I was absolutely scared about that thing. It was incredibly hot also, by the way. It in the way of, how do you say, the motor of the, what? Of the fan was hot, got overheated, so it was throwing hot air instead of fresh air. Anyways, finally had the memory at least to turn it off. Anyways, I was saying, and I don't know, I feel like, sadly, it's annoying to see so much of that out there, but it's not really something that you can entirely change, so to speak. Like, I wish it was something far more modifiable, but sadly, it seems to be always the case. It seems to be what we are bound to deal with, basically. But yeah, indeed, there are situations of that very same sort always out there, but we never need to care about them. and we never need to care about how we approach the world. And because that is so much the case, now I feel like there is such a huge portion of this world that then becomes an enjoyable, and surprisingly an enjoyable. Who could be capable of enjoying being around here? Who could be capable of enjoying what we have if the norm is for all of these things to look, to sound, to feel entirely meaningless? And you don't even have the need to think out them at all in any other light. You can just, you know what, you woke up and thought that this was a very dark place, and you have no need to change that vision. Not that you are obliged to do so, not that you are a force. I'm not putting a gun against your head, but you have the possibility of changing things. You don't need to leave. Unsurprising idea, to some degree it's a condescending one, yes, but the sad reality of sometimes it actually is possible to see, to realize, I don't need to be so negative about everything. I am willing to be, but I don't have the need to be, which are two entirely different things, and because I have agency over that, don't I? Why not try to make something out of that? Why not try to make sure that that leads to something, you know? It's sad to see it being so much the case that, yeah, you know what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all if you care or not. It doesn't matter at all if you try to do something out of that or not. It doesn't matter. Never mattered, never will matter. No, there is a lot of it that seems to possess some degree of importance. Even if we are so willing to act like, what's the meme? Absolutely unfazed by the reality of this world and absolutely unaffected by all the things that go on existence and whatnot. Even if that is the case, doesn't mean that it needs to remain what we live ourselves like. No, not because other people say that things are bad, I also have to agree with them, you know? Doesn't have to work in that same function. I can be happy myself and I can entertain a degree of satisfaction found in the understanding of what goes on around me, what goes on close to me, that I can see possesses an understandability which I can't handle. The world is a mysterious place indeed. A cruel land, I don't think so much. Sometimes I like to be way too willing to say that things are bad, but sometimes they are not really that horrible. They are not really that terrible, you know? I am just too acceptant, too predisposed to act like that is absolutely the case, but it isn't always so. Sometimes things can be more wonderful the moment in which I get to reinterpret them in some way. And I don't know, it's... You can say it also like this, Ali. There is a huge degree of unwillingness related to the whole aspect of... Do I need to think about all of that in any other way? Are you truly telling me that I have to change my perspective in regards to the stuff that goes out in my life and whatnot? If the way in which I think about it right now works, why should I try to care about it in any other way? Why should I try to care about it in any other manner? Why should I be the one who says that now, yeah, this thing has some sort of importance, this thing has some sort of meaning behind what I saw before? If I thought before that this thing was trash, why do I now have to go back on my own word? Don't I live my life the way in which I wanted it? And unavoidably, that is to some degree justifying misery unnecessarily, because that's not the point at all sometimes. It's not the willingness to which we are so capable of making life entirely be such an enjoyable place by making sure that we keep on sustaining all of those notions, all of those ideas. Oh no, yeah, this place, this land, this is stuff that happens here. All of that is so dark, it's all so negative, it's all so influential on me in a bad way. All of that is terrible. When it doesn't need to be like that. It's completely difficult to actually grasp in terms of why are we acting like that to begin with? Why is that the norm? Why is that the case? Why are we all so willing to that? It never needed to be like that. It never needed to work in that same alignment. Yet, we all act like it truly is good to have that happen. Like it truly is great to have that exist in that way. I don't think so, my man. I don't think so. Also, invaded by alien snipers? What the fuck? Anyways. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's a strange world sometimes, I guess. So many difficulties, but not because everything is bad, simply because I am unwilling to change how I act in regards to the stuff that happens around me already. A surprising land. No matter what, always. But it's good, I guess. It's better to be surprised than to be incapable of understanding anything at all. You know? It's better to have always new things going on around than to live on that same repetition and endless degrees of sameness that lead to nothing. This world is so much about the many other aspects which remain unexplained, which could be explained, which could have some degree of understandability, as long as we are willing to actually look out for them. Why choose to simply remain in that other area of, no, you know what, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't say that it is right, no? I wouldn't say that it is good, no? I need to remain there now. I can be honest, I can say that I actually want to care about something. I can try to show that. I can try to have that happen, even if I am not showing it. I can try stuff to begin with. And that leads to consequences which most of the time I am happy about, you know? But I don't know. So much of the world is also still such an unintelligible mess, I guess you could say it like that. Yeah. That never matters, I guess. All of it, even if it does matter, never matters. Also, what's up with these bosses being so incredibly tanky? Can you please die quickly, like now? Terrible. Something tells me that I am not going to loop this character. It's so hard. I feel like, I don't know, man. Perhaps it's not really that hard. Perhaps it's also related a lot with the difficulty having been increased. Perhaps. We will see. Next character will be different, so... Is there a next character? I think so, yeah. But yeah. Anyways. I keep on straying from what I was saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to talk about reading Levi-Strauss like how much? 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, and also like half an hour ago, and the first time I used him for an example more than anything else. The second time I also did so for I think the very same rant. Continue the second part of the same rant, sorry. But I was saying, and I don't know, I feel like it's great. There are so many authors like that. I feel like it's also the whole encounter always with how come people cannot really express that there are such great authors? Like, I am happy that I found somebody like him, and I am happy that unavoidably I get therefore the opportunity to see somebody like him. But I feel like I never heard somebody truly say, yeah, this is such a wonderful thing to read and such a wonderful person to analyze and whatnot. At the best, I had something along the lines of, yeah, this could be to some degree good. This could be to some degree nice. This could be to some degree important. But you don't really have to worry about it, you don't really have to think about that, you don't really have to be interested in that. If it so happens that you ever encounter him in your path, just don't throw him to the side, don't disregard him, don't act like he doesn't matter, try to give him a chance. Wow. Okay, that's all that we can say. Shouldn't it be something wonderful is we have no more classics, no more things that carry with them that degree, not a classic, a must read. So much of the world is filled, as in right now, so much of it is filled with information, yet the most absent thing still is nobody knows what really should be read. It's no wonder, I will say that, yeah, we still have such a huge issue, therefore, with something along the lines of, and you know what? Nobody here knows exactly what matters in terms of what we should be trying to analyze, what we should be trying to see, what we should be trying to go through and whatnot. If it happens that you encounter something that you say matters, good. If it doesn't happen, what a sad thing, but that's not our problem either. When that's not necessarily the case. There are so many great things out there, but I mean, so much of the world also is based nowadays on authority and the whole aspect of who are you to tell me what matters? Why should I care about your opinion? Aren't we all equally people that has as much of a valid voice in whatever it is that we say? Why is what you tell me something that I should care about instead of just following my heart, instead of just following whatever I think matters and whatnot? And I don't know. Unavoidably feel like it is something bad. Unavoidably, to some degree, it is something negative to be so willing to have that happen. I don't have anything that I really want here, like projectiles chain, projectiles freeze. I could take these, and I could take projectiles chain. What the fuck? Amazing! What a character. Anything here? I cannot buy anything. Amazing. Okay. And you? What do we have? Ah, wait. Sacrifice for India. No. Nightmare 2. What the fuck am I talking about? Sacrifice? Sacrifice what? Embrace the darkness. What are you talking about? Enemies move faster. Okay, true. No. I don't know, man. I feel like the world is such a strange place. So much of it is always under these characteristics of things that feel so absolutely unexplainable, so absolutely impossible to decipher in some way or another. And it doesn't have to be the case. It doesn't need to be the case, but I'm willing to act like it is. Because to get what happens is to suffer far more. I actually said something about that. Not today exactly, not here. Yeah. But I was saying that I don't know, man. I feel like it's incredibly bad to some degree in the whole aspect of I don't know, man. Sadly, many things get to make far more sense once I actually see stuff, once I actually explore enough things, once I actually make the effort to understand what's happening around me. Many things, to some degree, you could even say, yeah, way too many things get to be understandable, far more than what I will be sometimes even willing to accept, far more than what I will sometimes be willing to let it be understandable to myself to begin with. Like, I don't really need, I don't really feel like I need to get so much of what happens. I don't desire getting to see, getting to understand so much stuff. Sometimes it's annoying to actually get stuff and see it and be capable of saying, ah, yeah, this is the point, this is the thing that makes sense here, and this is the thing that I should be caring about here, and whatnot. Sometimes it's absolutely annoying to have that happen, and so much of what exists, so much of what occurs is based on that very same notion of, ah, yeah, actually things can make sense, sadly. The world is not as indecipherable as I would have loved to believe before. I need to actually do a lot of work to make sense sometimes, but it's possible to do so to the degree to which it actually all gets to be a clear picture. And sadly, when that happens, I stop having so much the capacity to criticize it as willingly or as freely. Like, I can still tell you bad things about the stuff, but there is still sadly something wonderful about how I understand that what I am telling you carries with it a degree of I am to some degree lying to you. I know that what I am saying has with it a huge portion of these other aspects, has a huge portion of these other things with it. I am absolutely aware that what I am saying is not being honest to what the idea itself is, that aspect of reality itself is. I know that I am lying, and even if you don't, even if you never will, because that's one of the many benefits, I guess, of a lie, sometimes, that you don't necessarily realize that I'm lying to you. Even if you don't get that, I still have my conscience with me. Like, I still live with the reality of I am absolutely aware that what I'm telling you is absolutely fake. Is wrong in some way. It's not exactly what I align with in some manner. And I cannot really sit still. I cannot really act like it doesn't matter at all. It does have some degree of importance, and it does have some degree of meaningfulness. And I should actually be capable of saying sometimes, yeah, you know what, and suddenly not be capable of saying it, at least admitting to it, the whole aspect of, the more I keep on lying, the more I keep on emulating those displeasing aspects of my own consciousness, I carry with me so much that I say I care about, and so much that I say seems to matter, when in reality I don't care about all of those things, and at other times I try to act so much like all of those things never have any importance, never have any degree of meaning and whatnot. While indeed within myself I actually realize, I can actually accept that no, this thing is in a different manner than what I am presenting it to you. But we're all absolutely willing to act like it isn't. We're all absolutely willing to go with the fires of, yeah, this thing is bad, this thing is horrible, this thing is negative. And it can only be like that, and it can only operate under those conditions. And I don't know, it's annoying. I feel like unavoidably it's annoying to have so much of that exist under those same modes of operation and not much else. So much of life is always predicated on that degree of annoyance, on that degree of, yeah, are you irritated yet by these things that you have willingly ignored, that you have willingly despised, that you have willingly acted like they didn't matter at all? Or have you finally been capable of accepting that no, they actually do have some degree of importance. They actually do have some degree of meaning to them and whatnot. And I don't know, it's... Now I get why. Once again, the whole notion of ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is the best benefit, the best weapon in your hands if you want to criticize the entire world, so to speak. Because how to be capable of criticizing anything if you understand what you're talking about? How to say that things are bad, the moment in which you can realize what are the problems that exist within what you are saying, within what you are expressing, within what you are attacking and whatnot, you know? And to have all of that present in mind, to have all of that surrounding one is exhausting, I would say, yeah, unavoidably. Unavoidably it is to some degree bad, because now you also have to realize the whole aspect of, wow, many other things that I am willing to say don't matter or are so negative or whatever. When I know that that's not the case. I can absolutely realize, accept that that's not the case. But we all act like it is, because perhaps it's better if I tell you that and you go with my lie than if we try to change it in any other way. Enemies area, no. Encounter, I guess this is good. Okay, I guess this is... I don't know how many more characters I have still to unlock. But yeah, anyways, I was saying, this is a good run so far, yeah. Anyways, besides that, going back, and I don't know, it's... The world is many times a mystery, but it's understandable still, it's good enough to some degree. It is whatever, yes, it is entirely whatever. It doesn't really need to be that much of a problem. And I don't know, I like... Sorry. I realized that I should have said something. I also have the issue of I don't really want to say it in a way in which it doesn't really feel good. In a way in which it doesn't really lead to anything. Like, there is always that desire to express yourself, let's say like this, according to the final desire of yours of accomplishing what you are expressing. Like, I don't want to say something good simply because it is good. I want to say something good because I hope that it can lead to even greater things, you know? Like, if it was for the sake of making noise, we wouldn't be talking like we do here under these circumstances, you know? There are far simpler modes to obtain that benefit of, yeah, you make your noise, I make my noise, and we both carry our noises with one another and such, you know? So, within all of those ideas, there is one that I feel like falls under that same category of, I don't know, I feel suddenly like it's hard to always convince anyone to read something. It's surprising to think out how much time I am willing to spend on something meaningless, so trivial, like, I don't know, reading, not reading, watching videos on like, watching TikTok and short form content and whatnot, compared to something that could actually give me any kind of benefit, like reading. And it's not like there is no explanation, sadly. There is that whole degree of, sadly, you need to get yourself accustomed to reading, you need to get yourself accustomed to going through the whole process of learning out the stuff and whatnot. So you're kind of forced to learn how to properly read if you're interested in actually extracting good information from what you are seeing, you know? Sadly, most of the time, if you want to read something quote-unquote good, you have to pay a lot of attention in order to actually be capable of extracting all its sweetness, so to speak. And it's hard to say something like that to somebody. It's difficult to be capable of explaining it properly. Because how do you even know that you are good at reading? How do you even know that you are capable of? One of the good memes that we have had in recent times was the whole ogre and capable of understanding the deeper layers of signification within, what was it? Ulysses? The whole ogre who can only understand, what was it? I think, I don't even remember it. I remember the deeper layers out not being able of understanding the problems of brotherhood and whatnot, but understanding the overarching basic surface level analysis related to what was it? I cannot actually remember the basic one. I am amazing. But yeah, stuff like that exists to some degree for a reason in terms of unavoidably we have so many people of that same sort. So much of that is present nowadays. So much of what we see and what we consume sadly falls under that category of I don't know if I am getting the real point. Like it's something difficult to track out because it also requires a lot of other things that can also give me a far more understandable explanation without that requirement. It can give me a picture that I can grasp, a notion that I can utilize without being so difficult to at all analyze. And the whole analysis of that, once again, there is the whole realization of what the fuck? I don't really know if I want to keep watching TV, you know? And it's the eternal problem of I don't really know if I want to say that. I don't really know if I should say that. Don't we all in my family have watched TV for so long? How can I now be the person who says, oh no, yeah, I will despise this thing entirely? Sometimes it's understandable that it's so difficult to move away from all of that. But sadly, I don't know, it's the real point is beyond the, oh no, the tradition is this, so you have to follow the tradition. I don't think the expression is traditionalists, so yeah, we are not like that here. I am not proposing that this will remain within those boundaries. I feel like on model it's far better to have something else exist, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like the best thing, you know? Also, I gained no cash. How did I gain no cash? Amazing. Actually, makes sense to some degree. The whole, what is it? Degree of nightmare is actually far more difficult. But I wasn't expecting it to be this difficult. What the fuck? Goblins with bombs? Amazing. But well, at the very least, we got to win. I think how many? Not every single run, but most of them today. So yeah, was good. But also, it was a very fun game. A very silly game. I played it and I liked it. I guess that's my real point. I remember finding it and it felt very good. Unavoidably, it's not like, oh wow, some survivors like that does something unique from the rest. Not really. But it doesn't also have to be only based on the uniqueness of its creation or whatnot. It's good enough by itself. And it's good enough simply because it is, you know? Also, I'm going to die probably. Amazing. I have such an issue dealing with enemies here. I think the problem is still the exact same thing as before. I keep on picking that fucking upgrade that gives me no range, and I need so much range for this area. The temptation of doubling your damage, but losing all your range is such that I end up shooting myself in the knee every single time I do that. Also, yeah, I have such a tiny range, I cannot even hit that guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, here comes. Please tell me that you die. No, you won't die. How much I love you, dear enemy. Also, the problem is that that guy literally blocks shots, so... What can we do about him? Nightmare was actually a nightmare. Who could have expected that? Oh no, the game gives me the difficulty that it promises it will give me? No, no, why? Why did you have to be honest? Why did you have to be honest in this one thing that actually doesn't benefit me? Why did you not lie and say that you were going to be hard when in reality you are going to be the easiest game ever? Why don't you police me at every single second instead of giving me the opportunity of enjoying a difficult but a rewarding experience? Why don't you work like I want you to work? Such is life, I guess. But anyways, I guess we can win. We're gonna have like... Can I survive this actually? Oh my god. Something tells me that I am going to die. I think I don't even have enough damage. But I didn't even roll that bad. That many bad upgrades, like... I really have bad stuff that much. Incredible. Can happen. Skill issue is always near you, I guess. Also, getting so much XP out of that. Amazing. Also, sorry, I was too locked in on the gameplay. I fear losing after a run stake commitment, and I don't want to lose so much time to it, you know? So much time spent on trying to win down the drain simply because I got unfocused. Enough of doing that. For today, we are here to win, to rejoice in the act of knowing that we did whatever we could to make sure that we gained the benefits of our efforts, not to suffer because reality was harsh on us yet again. But whatever. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to win. I am absolutely sure that I am not going to win. Probably I can survive if I force it very much. But it was good. While it lasted. What if we go down to zero nightmare? Also, these enemies all came back. Amazing. Okay, here comes the boss. There we go. We are 2 bosses away from the final one. No, not 2. 1. Like this one and the final boss. I had something in mind. I forgot about that's something that I had in mind. It doesn't matter, I guess. It doesn't matter. Who cares about winning? Who cares about accomplishing the thing that you set out for? Who cares about all of that? If you can still have so much fun in this world, why not go for that only and nothing else? Why not work towards being an entirely entertained person from the deepest part of yourself to not much more? Why worry about doing out so? Something tells me that I'm not going to win. And those voices are all right. That's the worst part here. Why did they have to tell me the truth? Give me this, yes. I don't know what the holy shield is. I am not going to take it and kill the run. If we die, we die with respect to the game, I guess. with our heads high, supposedly. But well, we're almost there. We're almost there. The journey is almost done. We don't need to suffer much more. It has come to a very pleasing end, even if it was all so complex, all so hard to accomplish, also impossible to. We are still in a land under control, and that's what matters. What should be of any importance to us, nothing else. We can. Sometimes you have to struggle. Sometimes you have to accept that it is necessary to fail before you actually win. This is it. This is just another instance of that. I don't know. I fear the outcome of this run. But don't I live my life entirely based on fear? Don't I do most of what I do based on the fear that I feel? Don't I exist thanks to that very same fear? Why would it be strange to say today that I have fear too? If that is the only emotion that has always been present within me, that is the only thing that I have carried with me for so long, for such a while. Why be surprised now? In the end, it's just the most intrinsic part of myself, resurfacing yet again under different conditions, and not much else. I don't know. Out of these to say, perhaps we win, perhaps. But I feel like I have a weird sensation, like probably it's my lack of damage early, but it's kind of impossible to actually level up here. Can't happen. Also, why do I gain negative banishes? What's up with that? Why does that keep happening, like, huh? Only God knows why, I guess. No. But yeah, it was good enough. But I feel like I have to fight for my entire life now. It got too hard out of nowhere. I didn't want it to be this hard. I only wanted to do it in pleasure. I only wanted. Difficulty was only something that I talked about in my mind. I never wanted to experience it. Never wanted to have hard time. Hard times are so displeasing to me. Why is it the case that the only thing that I ask for one day is granted to me? Why? Why don't I get to enjoy an existence in which nothing like this happens? Why do I have to see things come true according to my wish? Why? But no. We can win. We only have 1 minute left. And after that is the boss, which will probably kill me, but yeah, we can win. For sure we can win. Also, I depend so much into the whole thing that gives me into the gold rush. I depend so absolutely much on that. It's not even fun. What the fuck is that tornado? Huh? Defeat the void? Okay, whatever you mean, my man. First time in my whole life that I see it. Whatever. Yeah. It's doable. It's only 30 seconds. I have to not die for 30 seconds. That's accomplishable, isn't it? Haven't I gone through wars and come out alive out of those things too, out of those encounters too? It will now be impossible for me to do something this basic. Oh my god. I'm about to actually die. I'm going to rage quit. No, don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me. Be miserable. Wait, I hit myself every single time I reroll. Let me reroll 20 times. Let me reroll 20 different times as long as I keep myself alive. Actually. Okay, okay, it's dual. Why is the boss taking so much damage? What happened to my no damage? Oh my god. I think the issue are the normal enemies, which have way too much HP, I guess. But no, I am not going to go through this whole suffering again. There is one character that is entirely broken, like... That character can probably go to, like, level 90 of looks, but... We're not here to do that today. So yeah. We are satisfied with this much. We played for a handful of minutes. Like 3 minutes, so yeah. Good enough. Ah, yeah. Okay, there we go. How much? I love my cooling strike. Ah, the merchant. What's up, merchant? Shut up, merchant. I'm not going to buy anything from you. Oh my god, this is so great. Yeah, survive nightmare 2. Goodbye. Goodbye. There we go. No, wait. No, there are more characters. Start record unlocking. I will play them on my own. Without too much stress. This game got too hard out of nowhere. The power scaling is trash. I need more power creep on my game, otherwise I don't enjoy it. So yeah, nothing else to say. I am done with. Yeah. What a pain. What a pain. What an experience. What a painful experience. But anyways, that's it, I guess. It has been everything for today, so yeah, thank you. Have a great day, have a great night, have a great evening, have a great rest of your day, basically, yeah. Have a good one. Goodbye, take care, hydrate, rest, everything else, as always. Make sure to have, I don't know, everything. And see you next time, I guess. Until then, and even if there is no next time, as always, thanks for the time, the attention, the interest, the everything.